in a very, very short time, Latitude has become one of the bars in Cork. Really has. And you know, when you look around and you see bars in Cork and you see what's happening in businesses around the place, and you come into somewhere like Latitude and you see that there's a friendly, warm service inside here, that there's a charm with all the staff, and that's very unusual to see in a city centre. And for two ladies that have started a business in recessionary times, I must take my hat off to you. I'm very impressed with both of you, and you're doing an absolutely wonderful job here. They have opened the wine market here in Cork. They really have. And you do get a tremendous choice. And not only that as well, you get people talking about it, saying, I've gone to Latitude, I ordered X amount for food, and the lady there, or the gentleman there said, you know, there's a certain wine available that would go really well with your food. We have a wine course running here. We have different nights and different events. We have pop-up restaurants running here. Latitude, in fairness to both of you, has been an inspiration to Cork businesses. And if other people in business watched what the two ladies here are doing, I think we'd have a lot more businesses opening in Cork City. But, you know, pairing wine with food is such an important thing when we come to think about Cork. Because Cork has been capital of culture and a capital of food. We go down to our English market here and we walk into the pig's back, or we see down into O'Connell's, the fish market there, and we see the most magnificent produce being produced locally here in Ireland. And I have to lay praise again to this restaurant, is that the amount of Irish produce that is used day in, day out. Nothing is accepted, only Irish produce inside here. And that is a great credit. But not only that, we're pairing fantastic wines, but not only that, we're pairing Irish wines. So when they say to you, is there, you know, when you go abroad and people say to you, do they grow grapes in Ireland and do they have wine in Ireland? You have to think about it and say, you know, we don't do it exactly in Ireland, we outsource it, but it's Irish wine. It's Irish wine. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to hear tonight to say that there's going to be 12 events ran pairing food and wine together throughout the country, with Ballymaloon and of course here in Latitude. And I can only see it going from strength to strength. I hope it doesn't go for just 2013. I'm very, very confident that this will go an awful lot further. And what Beverly and Emma have done here tonight will be something that's going to be a Cork tradition. And well done, and congratulations.
So the winery was started by my dad probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And the reason, well, he essentially, it's called El Comandante, and the reason it's called El Comandante is because he had a career in the army and he retired at the rank of commandant, and just really always had a great passion for wine, and just was very keen to get involved in the wine business. So on retiring from the army, he was on holidays in Argentina with my mum, and just fell in love with the country and just thought that there's a perfect opportunity because at the time anyway there was very little Argentinian wine in Ireland, and he just thought it was a great opportunity to bring some wine over to and share Argentinian wine with his fellow countrymen, and also to have a whole lot of fun at the same time. So he got started on this project, bought a site in the wine growing area, and also a house in the centre of Mendoza. It's actually quite a big place, it's the same size as Cork. And it's got kind of cracking with the help of a couple of winemakers, a New Zealander and a Kiwi. And now he managed to do all the legwork, getting the winery set up, but unfortunately he became ill and he died just over 4 years ago. So at that stage it was kind of left to one of me or my siblings to take it over, and I lucked out, so I was the only one who was able to at the time, so I did. So I'm continuing on the project really. At the moment, still making just the 2 wines, a Chardonnay and a Malbec. Obviously Malbec is the signature grape of Argentina, the one that's really been driving the project. Kind of opposition to my dad anyway, I thought anyway that the market kind of was looking more for an unoaked Chardonnay. His first edition was an oak Chardonnay. It was kind of much heavier, much oilier and butterier. Not really to my taste. So I kind of just instructed the winemakers anyway to have an unoaked Chardonnay. Also, my dad for his first vintage had a little Sauvignon Blanc in there. I wanted to kind of keep it as crisp and as clean as possible, and just rely really on the fruit that are there. So, but the red that you have is Malbec. It's, as I said, it's kind of the signature grape of Argentina. It's the one that's been really driving the project on. I've noticed such a change in the past 2 years, whereas people 2 years ago wouldn't even have, well, a lot of people hadn't heard of Malbec at all. Now it's a very kind of fashionable grape. It's really grown in popularity. So obviously be delighted with that. It makes it far easier to try and sell it. Again, I wanted something that was quite easy drinking. Sometimes Malbecs can be very, very heavy, very tannic. I wanted to have something a bit more approachable than that. I also wanted to have something that wasn't necessarily as alcoholic as other Malbecs. So it's a mere 13.5%, whereas a lot of Malbecs will be a lot heavier than that. Again, and in that way, I wanted to rely on the kind of the natural fruit really of the grape. Now it has been in oak for 6 months as well, just to give a bit more balance, a slight bit of complexity as well. But it's again, as I said, a typical Malbec, dark fruit, very much kind of coming to the fore.
So if I could just start though by saying a big thank you really to Beverly, to Emma and to Colin, because this whole project that we've been working on for the last number of weeks has been absolutely superb. We're all very, very enthusiastic about it. I think the reason why this is going to be such a big success is that it's encompassing absolutely everything that's great about wine, and especially about Cork as well. And I think it's up to us all to make this whole programme of events a great success, which I no doubt it's going to be. So thanks again to Tom for a lovely tasting. So the next event we have is on February 13th. So that's Jane Boyce, who's a Master of Wine, and she's going to be doing an event here in Latitude 51, including Chateau Filin Cigar, and that's in association with James Nicholson's Wines. Basically then on March the 10th, that's a Sunday, we've got a very large tasting below in Ballymaloe, and that's with the Kaz family, basically of Chateau Lynch Badge. And there are 2 events that night. There is the tasting in the grain store, and afterwards then there's actually going to be a wine dinner as well for those that would like to do that, and that's in association with Barry and Fitzwilliam. Basically on the 21st of March then, Anna Seafried Wines will be doing a tasting, and the venue there is to be confirmed, and that's in association with Classic Drinks. In April we have Tomas Clancy, well-known wine writer and columnist with the Sunday Business Post, and he's going to be doing a lovely presentation here in Cork. We're actually in discussions with a very historic building in the city, so we actually can't say where it's going to be on at the moment, but we hope to have full notification next week of where it's on, but it's going to be a humdinger of an event, I can tell you now. May is chock-a-block. We have a number of events in May. When we were sitting down and we were talking about the events, obviously May is a great month of the year for tastings. So we're going to kick off on the 16th of May here in Latitude with Fleur McCree of Little Beauty from New Zealand, who's got Cork connections, and that's in association with some company called Wine Alliance. I hear they're very good. And a couple of days later we have a pretty epic event organised by Gary O'Donovan of O'Donovan Off Licenses. That's again a kind of a 2-part event. There's a tasting in the Roadstone Park Hotel, and then there's a black tie event in Fleming's that evening, and it's entitled The Return of the Wine Geese. So full details can be got from Gary this evening, or obviously at all of his staff in any of his shops, and that's going to be a fantastic event. As I say, a black tie event in Fleming's restaurant that evening as well. On the May 28th we have Café Paradiso, and we have Emma Cullen of Cullen Wines from Margaret River in Australia. Beautiful part of the world and beautiful wines. That's going to be happening in association with Liberty Wines. On Saturday, June 22nd, we have Mannings, and they're all here tonight. Thanks for coming up from all the way from West Cork, as they say. And this is going to be a food and wine extravaganza happening on Saturday, June 22nd, but rumour has it that this thing could go nuclear and it might end up being, who knows, a weekend, a month, who knows. The plans are epic, and as I say, the guys here will be delighted to tell you a little bit more about it. The whole thing is in at the moment. You see, July and August are open at the moment, but I'm going to talk about some other events that we have planned and haven't been scheduled. But I suppose the reason why we've left stuff open as well is we don't want people to think that this is essentially the whole thing is planned and that there isn't any flexibility here. What we want to do is we want to get as many people as we can involved. It's open to everyone. So please, if anyone has an idea for an event or someone that should be involved, please come to us and let us know, and we'd be delighted to slot it into the programme. Okay, on Thursday, September 12th then, we have an event called It's a Long Way from Clare to Here. I was going to sing that, but I said I wouldn't. And that's basically about wines of the Clare Valley, and that's with John MacDonald, who many of you would know from Wine Australia, and that's up in the beautiful Hayfield Manor Hotel. So thanks to Simon for organising that. And then in October the 10th in the Grain Store in Ballymaloe, again a very, I suppose, a bit of a coup. We have Hennessy Cognac coming over, and their brand ambassador Mark Boissonnet is coming over and is going to be doing a presentation and a tasting, and that's in association with Edward Dillon's. And if I can pay special thanks to Tygo Lynch. They always say if you've if you want something done, you give the job to a busy person. Well, Colin and myself met with Tyg on a Friday, and by tea time on the Saturday, the following day, this whole thing was organised. So thanks to Tyg for that, much appreciated. And we're looking forward to seeing you over there. November and December are open at the moment, but in December we're planning a kind of a closing event as such, which will, it's going to be something big. We're going to put our creative hats on. If you just flick over the page, as I say, there are a few events that just have to get official scheduling, but we have the Wine Geese, the Next Generation, and that's going to be held in association with John Wilson, wine writer with the Irish Times. And that's going to be at the Crawford Art Gallery, or Gallery Café I should say. We have then Leslie Williams, who's the wine writer with the Irish Examiner, and he's going to again chair the Wine Geese panel, so that's going to be a very interesting event. Curious Wines, I was chatting with Curious Rosie earlier there, and Gail McGuinness of Domaine des Anges is going to come over and is going to do a tasting again, the date which is going to be confirmed. And Joe Carrick of Carrick Wines as well, I'm delighted to say, has organised for Pat Neville of Domaine Anguissa from Corbière, and he's going to be over later in the year to do an event as well. I've actually been in his home vineyard in Fontainebleau, and it's absolutely incredible, as are his wines. So we have a number of other events then. Longville House in Mallow have come on board. Again, the details are to be fleshed out, but it's great because that gives us a North Cork location. We have West Cork, we have East Cork, and we have the city. The Triskel Art Centre, we're in discussions as well at the moment with them and with Isaac's Restaurant, all of whom have expressed an interest in getting involved in this. So there's going to be lots more happening as well. The Wine Buff, again, we're talking to the Wine Buff at the moment, and they're pretty sure that they're going to get an event going this year as well. Simon Tyrrell of Tyrrell & Co., who's also actually a qualified winemaker, he's going to set up an event later on in the year as well, where he's going to bring one of his suppliers, an Irish winemaker, and the two of them are going to do a fantastic presentation here in Cork. And Le Caveau as well in Kilkenny have said that they'll be coming down to do a presentation. And McIlway's then as well. I got a phone call last night from Brent Smith, who read about us in Dublin, and said that can't have it all happening down in Cork, so he's going to bring one of his Irish winemakers in front on to come down and do a presentation here as well. So it's going to be fantastic.